Now, today, what I'd like to do is bring to you a special announcement. I had really intended to do a meeting on Monday night, kind of an emergency meeting here at the church on Monday night. And then we realized that actually we can reach more of you just by having a time in which I share with you right now live, and then also through the chat room, try to answer some of your questions. And so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and make my announcement, and then you can ask some questions, and we'll see what we can do here to try to answer some of those questions. So as you probably know, our governor, Jared Polis, along with Adams County, has imposed level 3 on all of Adams County. That's where we reside, our congregation. And so this has a big impact on us at this point. It's just almost as strict as safe at home. So we're under a tremendous lockdown with a lot of restrictions right now. And so we're really in a tough place. Now, I've consulted with our legal team, our board of directors, our elders, our staff, and we have just spent a lot of time trying to work through what we're going to do. And I want to just give you kind of a debrief on what our attorneys have told us. They said that our First Amendment rights can be restricted by the state if it has a compelling interest. And our courts have historically recognized that public health and safety is, in fact, a compelling interest, and that this pandemic is a public health risk. Churches have lost cases earlier this year concerning this matter of their First Amendment rights. However, our attorneys told us that things have changed quite a bit. They know a lot more about the virus, and that the death rate is really, really low. And so there's 2 cases right now in the Ninth Circuit Court. And they told us they believe they're going to move them up right into the Supreme Court, and that the Supreme Court is going to look at this all over again. But they believe the Supreme Court is going to rule in favor of the church now, because the death rate's so low that it's no longer probably able to justify these type of shutdowns. So our legal team said, hold on. We're going to get it right back in the Supreme Court, and we believe we're going to win. And that's going to force all the states to kind of back down on these overreaching restrictions on the church and our First Amendment rights. Now, they've also said that we should not at this time practice any civil disobedience. They cautioned us. They said, if you try that, you're probably going to lose. You could be sued, and because of civil disobedience, your insurers will probably not cover any losses either. In other words, we're most likely going to be shut down forever if we try to step into the arena of civil disobedience at this point. Now, I think in the future there might be a time in which we do that, but I really believe right now is not the time based on all of the counsel that we're getting. Now, as a result of these shutdowns, we really only have 2 viable options. We looked at every possible option you could think of. We've talked this thing over and over and over with our leaders, and we've come down to really just 2 viable options. Neither one is a good option. In fact, only one is going to really work. But let me lay this out for you just so you know. We could try to continue our on-site, in-person services, along with live streaming, of course. But what we're going to end up doing with the new quotas that they've given us is we're going to end up leaving behind about 30, 40, maybe 50 people every week. And for us, that's just not going to work. The maximum, where we go one, we go all for the sake of the call. That's important to us. We don't want to leave anyone behind. And so trying to do 2 services that leave behind such a large number of our people, it just doesn't work. We either all suffer together or we enjoy liberty and breakthrough together. I don't want to piecemeal our congregation and get divided up in this big mess that we're facing right now. So as a result, I don't think that one is going to be a viable option for us at all. In fact, our attorneys told us, if you do decide to meet, You have to make sure that you're abiding by the numbers. You have to make sure you are social distancing, and you have to make sure that everyone is wearing a mask. And he said, do you think your people would wear masks faithfully and diligently? I'm thinking, man, he doesn't know us, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But the point is this. We'd have to make it happen. We'd have to make it a requirement. You'd have to sign up online. You'd have to come with a mask. There's all these restrictions. And then we leave people behind. Looking at that, we realized that's just not going to work. That is not a viable solution. So what we did come up with is this option, and we started with this option all the way back in March. At this time, I think we're going to have to go back to just live streaming alone. We're going to have live worship and live streaming, but there's not going to be any on-site, in-person services right now. We're under level 3, and it may even go back to safer at home. And so in trying to fight the state on this at this point, we're realizing, you know what? We're going to have to just kind of lay low, hang together, live stream, and wait this out. I do believe the Supreme Court will rule on this again, and I do believe that there's going to come a time in which they're going to have to lift all these restrictions. And so I think we're going to have to just hang in there and stay together, suffer together, and find ways to just wait the storm out. And I think that's our best and most viable option. Like I said, I've been in dialogue with our board of directors, with our elders, with our entire staff, and our legal counsel concerning our specific circumstances. In light of that, we believe, and we have a general consensus among all of these groups, a general consensus, that live streaming with live worship is the way to go in the near future, and to wait this storm out. And so in light of that, that has been our heart, and we wanted to bring that to your attention and also allow you to ask some questions of clarification as it relates to that. So I'm looking at the chat right now, and if you have some questions, now's the time to ask, and I will try to answer those. So as you're typing questions, I just want to encourage you and to let you know that these circumstances are new, but they're temporary. They are temporary. So what we're talking about putting in place is going to be temporary for a season. Okay, so good. So I have some statements being made here of encouragement and affirmation, and so no questions yet, but I think, so let me just read this one from Ryan and Patty McCarthy. Yes. Wise decision, Pastor Mark. Thank you and the other leaders for all that you do. And thank you, McCarthy family. It's a very difficult time for everyone, of course, but thank you for that encouragement. We as a staff, we went round and round, looked at all the different things, and really, tried to assess what we're up against. And the staff was, really united on saying, hey, it is time to go back temporarily to live streaming. And the whole entire staff is on board with this, and we are going to trust God to see us through. We're hemmed in right now, but that's okay. If you remember our ancestors, they were backed up to the Red Sea, the army in front of them and the Red Sea behind them, and it just looked impossible. And then God split the sea. So I know that we're looking at kind of an impossible situation right now, but believe me, and I know you do, when I say that with God, all things are possible, and that God will see us through. Even Rabbi Alex and his words of encouragement over and over and over again, pointing us to the fact that God is above it all, and he can do anything he wants to do, anytime he wants to do it, and no government is going to thwart his will. So that is a good word for us. Okay, I thought this topic, next question, Sean Chandler. I thought this topic has gone to the courts already and was given the church the right to meet. Great question. Earlier on, several churches lost in the Supreme Court on this issue because the state was able to make a compelling interest in terms of public safety. And then just recently in Colorado, and this is probably what you're referring to, is two churches in Colorado just won in a district court the right to meet unrestricted. And so the court did rule in their favor, which is great news. Now, our governor and his attorneys immediately filed for a stay of that order and that ruling, as they then pushed this up in an appeal to overturn what this district court judge just did. So it was a good victory, but it's on hold once again. But it becomes one of those cases that may make its way all the way to the Supreme Court. So that's what we're all waiting on, is the Supreme Court to finally rule, because once the Supreme Court rules, there's a good chance that it'll become a precedent for all the states, and then the governors will have to start backing down these mandates once that takes place. So good question. Jessica Craig, okay, good. Just made a statement, not a question. Thank you for the encouragement. Pastor Mark, please give the mailing address to where to send the tithe. It's right on the website. You can go to the website, and we have the mailing address and also a donate button. I do not have the mailing address at this point, but if you go to the website, you can get that contact information, and that's where you can send that. Thank you very much. Okay, any other questions? Pastor Chris, is that under the Give tab, or where's the contact page for the mailing address? It's under the Give tab. Under the Give tab. Yep. So go to the Give tab, and underneath that tab, you can find out how to send that in through the mail. And who knows, maybe we'll get that in 6 months or so. Yeah. Okay. Will the service be at 1 p.m.? Yes, it will. That's when we intend to, well, actually, that's where we live stream, generally speaking. And we do not intend to change that at this point. So it would continue at this point at 1 p.m. Okay, I'll just wait a few more minutes here in case you have another question. You know, it just really grieves our heart, of course, to not be able to meet. We just think that what the state has done and our local governments have done is they've basically, you know, said, hey, you can meet, but yet the restrictions are so complex and sometimes confusing. And you know, it's just like when you look at actually implementing what they're saying to implement, they've made it virtually impossible at this time for us to meet. And that has been very painful. But we believe, as Rabbi Alex has pointed out, that God is in control and that we can trust him to make a way for us. So let's not be discouraged. Let's set our face like flint, and let's believe God for great breakthroughs as we hang together as a community. Question, hello, today is my first day joining. Do you have any youth groups? We got a fantastic youth group. We are so jazzed about our youth group. Unfortunately, due to these restrictions, the government has made it virtually impossible for us to even continue with our youth group at this point. And so civil government has, in effect, shut us down, but it's just temporarily. You know, the battle's far from over, and we believe we will win this. So we encourage you, stay with us, hang with us, and eventually we're going to get back to all of our ministries, including this amazing youth group that we've raised up over this last year or two. Okay, any need for volunteers and announcements regarding volunteers? We might need some volunteers to run our live streaming, so we will get back to you on that and let you know what the openings are. But we're only going to run basically just a staff here to get this done. We don't want to be in violation of the civil government at this point, so we'll get back to you on that. Okay, this okay. I'll read this. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but I think I get it. Sean Chandler, have to admit this lazy boy pew is pretty comfy, and I hear you. You know, some of our people that have been watching live streaming, they say, man, It's the bomb. If you can't go, it's the bomb because you can stay in your pajamas, sleep in, sit on the sofa, eat some popcorn, and watch the service and join in. And so I get that. I just hope you don't get too comfy because we're going to come back. We will be back at a given point, so don't get too comfy. Yeah, I already answered that. Yeah. Okay. We'll wait just a few more minutes here. I want everyone to, as we're waiting, I want everyone to be active in calling each other and encouraging one another. I want you to speak faith, speak the things of God. Don't speak the circumstances. We're not denying the circumstances. We're not in denial, but recognize that that's not the end of the story and that we're going to live by faith, not by sight. And we're going to believe God for big breakthroughs. And talking to the attorneys, and the attorneys that we use are the ADF, the Alliance Defending Freedom. All they specialize in is First Amendment rights for churches. They are the specialists in this area, and they're doing a bang-up job across the nation. And I had an opportunity to talk with them several times, and they got a very high expectation that the Supreme Court is going to rule in our favor because the death rate's so low, it's not a compelling interest that can be made month after month after month anymore. This thing is not what they thought it was initially. So they said, if it gets to the Supreme Court, they're confident that it's going to get there. They really do believe it's going to turn around. So I want to encourage you with that too. I think that's a note of optimism that can see us through this next couple weeks or months as we wait for that to lift. All right, so I don't think we have any other questions. I do have a comment by Mike Horton out in Tennessee. He says, "Hi, Mark. I want to say, God bless the Hortons. We love Tennessee. Tennessee's on the map." I don't know what that means, but it's important to us. We have a number of families that have relocated there, and so God bless Tennessee. All right, I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and wind this down and close it. You're free to call myself, my staff, the board of directors, the elders. Call people if you have questions. We're available for you. If you want to Zoom, we can Zoom with you as well. But whatever it takes, we want to stay connected as we move forward and find our breakthroughs. So let's go ahead and just pray as we close this section of our service. Father, we love you and we bless you. And we are not dismayed and we are not discouraged. We're inspired by all of the things you have done so far. And it speaks volumes to us because we know that what's already been done will be done over and over again, that our breakthroughs will come as well. You're an amazing God, and we have high hopes and high expectations of your involvement, not only in this election, but even in this pandemic. We know you are the God of breakthroughs. You can do it all. So our trust is in you. We say, God, make a way for your people. Have mercy on us. Lift these, move it away that lifts these sanctions against us as soon as possible so that we can get back to meeting together, fellowshipping, and following your commandments for the glory of your Son. We love you and we bless you in Yeshua's name. Amen.